All right, thank you very much for staying with us. It's time now for Gen Interactive, and Marian Therese here. Hi, how are you?
Hey, what are you doing?
I like the smile on your face.
Thank you.
Some will say the big cooker.
The big give you the radius.
What's going on?
Thank God. We spoke about the POTAG strike.
Right.
About a few weeks ago. It's still ongoing. The students have been to actually go and petition government, but it's actually still not working. It hasn't been called off. And also we're talking an extended show on the sanitary parts issue. And I think you were talking to one of the gentlemen who was telling you about a research that was actually conducted. I'm hopefully going to share some of the research findings and then see what would actually, going forward, what perhaps the questions that should have been asked are. And certainly not just about sustainability.
Absolutely. Let's take it away then.
Wherever you are, this is your most interactive half hour on TV. My name, as always, Marian Toure. So welcome, wherever you are, this is your most interactive half hour on TV, and I'd like to announce all the social media tools that you need to get in touch with the show. You will find us on Facebook.com/journeys on TV. Like our posts that we have put there, and we would amplify what you're sharing with us by taking them live on the show and sharing with the rest of the world. You'll find us on Twitter. We tweet at Joy News on TV, at JN Interactive GH, and at MN Toure. That's my personal Twitter handle, by the way. You can send your tweets to that. I'll retweet your thoughts and share what you're sharing with the rest of the world. Joy News IM at mototvworld.com remains our email address, and our WhatsApp number 0540 109 009. And JN Interactive, as always, is where tech meets news to set the agenda. So the polytechnic teachers in the country, they are actually still on strike. They have withdrawn their services, from students, and they started this on May 15 this year to back demands for payments for their book and research allowances for 2013-2014. And the National Labour Commission took the matter to court on June 25th, citing it as illegal. The case was adjourned to July because the NLC, which actually took the matter to court, failed to file all the writs pertaining to the case. And the students have been to meet the Ministry of Education to petition them. And we have an update on this, but I'm hoping that I can actually, take you through the story as it actually unfolds, and as some of the media houses have actually captured it. And one that I can actually see here, which is coming from the City FM Online website, is actually saying that the students went to picket at the Education Ministry. And as we all understand what picketing really means, it doesn't mean that they went there for dialogue. They just went there holding placards and screaming, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, we need you to hear us out. So I'm hoping that the story can show, and then we can go through it together. And I have a resource person on the line to help us address the issue, and also a student, a polytechnic student himself, a representative, Amponsa Menu, who is actually the coordinating secretary of NUCS, to actually talk to us about this particular issue. And so, yes, the story is up. Let's go through it together. And my resource person will join me so that we would do the discussion here. And it says that they have actually picketed at the Information Ministry. And the story, the body of the story, which I can't amplify, but I have to leave it the way it is, says hundreds of students of the Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students have besieged, exactly, those are the words I wanted you to understand, besieged the Ministry of Education to ask why the ministry has failed to resolve the strike by Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana. According to the group, the march is in solidarity with POTAG, who have been on strike for over a month following government's failure to pay their book and research allowances for the 2013-14 academic year. And POTAG was actually dragged to court. That's the body of it, which I've already shared with you. They were dragged to court, because they actually failed to comply with the provision of the Labour Act regarding notification to embark on strike. thus declaring that particular strike as illegal. And as I was telling you earlier on, I have the coordinating secretary of NUCSUS in the person of Abasa Menu. He was here before to shed some light on the issue for us. And also standing by on the phone line, we have Mr. James Dugra, who is POTAC National Chairman, to also help us with this. So welcome to the studio again.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing
Besides
good.
picketing, what have you been doing with yourself? Because some of the media call it picketing. Apparently you went to picket there. And I wanted to ask you what happened when you went.
All right, thank you. Good evening to our viewers. We went to, the POTAC strike has been on for more than 46 days now. And so we had hitherto been to the ministry to have a meeting with the minister on the way forward on the matter. But we believe that we are students and citizens, and it's the government that owes us the responsibility of making sure our right to education is realized.
Okay.
And so we went to the ministry hitherto 14th of June. And then we agreed that the ministry was going to invite our lecturers and then give them the commitment they require so that we can get back to our schools. And then the week that the ministry promised, they could not work on that.
Okay.
We only heard that it took 15 days to invite our lecturers to a meeting, which meeting failed to even table the reason why they are on strike.
Okay, I understand all of that. Which
Yes.
you gave us a background of that when you were here the last time. But I mean, what happened yesterday when you went to meet the education minister?
So we had a couple of SRC presidents together with the national executives going to the ministry to ask the way forward, that we are home. The disagreement between you and your employees are still ongoing, and we need to be taught. So what is the next way forward? And then unfortunately when we went, the ministry called the police to prevent us from seeking audience with the ministry. And so that created some sort of a scene, and then later we were able to meet the minister, and we had a disappointment of our life yesterday, because the ministry that is in charge of education in Ghana tells polytechnic students that they do not know when the polytechnics can get back running again, but they are not on strike. It is the lecturers that are on strike. So we feel so disappointed, and now we are even losing confidence in the state. That the state that is supposed to make sure that we have a right to education that every youth enjoys is telling us that they don't know. Whether or not we can still pursue our dream of higher learning.
What's the way for you guys?
Well, we have met our constituents, and we said that we should wait till Tuesday coming, and then we outline the series of events we'll be undertaking to make sure that we are back to school.
Okay. Yeah. So you haven't sat down to agree?
We haven't sat down because since the ministry failed us yesterday, we haven't sat down. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm hoping actually that the POTAC National Chairperson will be on the line, who is in the person of James Dugra, so that we can continue this conversation. But we're still trying to reach him. As we try to reach him, we have been asking you, we catch up with you on the streets of Accra to ask your views on the issue, and we are asking you about this polytechnic shutdown. What should government actually do about it? But Mr. Dugra is actually on the line, so let's finish off with him before we go and take our video blog. Good evening, Mr. Dugra.
Good evening, Sister.
Welcome to JN Interactive.
Thank you.
I want you to tell me your side of the story. What happened when, after we left here, the last time we left here, you spoke to us about what was going to happen, and we haven't spoken to you since. Could you update us on what has happened so far till date?
As from what time, please?
Sorry?
As from what time?
Since we last spoke to you, that was last month, I think 24th. Of June, because the National Labour Commission was taking you to court on the 25th, and the court was actually to hear the case. It was adjourned. Yes, it was adjourned to this July. Yesterday, the students actually went, and media is calling it picketing the Education Ministry. So fill us in on what has happened thus far.
Yeah, the issue is that we went to the court. The first appearance, that was on the 9th, it was adjourned to the 25th of June. We went again, and then that been adjourned to July 7th.
Yeah.
So on the last Monday, the minister invited us for a meeting. So we went, and then he came in and pleaded with us to call off the strike. But he spoke at length, and other dignitaries also joined, the deputy minister in charge of basic and secondary education, the NCTE chief executive, and then the chief director of the ministry. Then later on, Honorable Ablakwa, even he came at the tail, she could not utter a word. So, in the nutshell, when she finished and they gave us the floor, on behalf of POTAC, I said we've heard her and her appeal is taken with good faith, and we thank her for the efforts she's taken to settle the case. But the crux of the matter, of the substance of the issue is about the payment of our book and research allowance.
Right.
So we wanted to know the situation as at now. And the minister told us point blank that she cannot say anything about the payment of the book and research allowance. Why? She said because the Ministry of Finance is not there, then the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission too was not present.
Right.
So she could not say anything.
Okay.
And we were surprised because I think these two bodies, well, they play a part, but they didn't initiate the scrapping off of our book and research allowance.
Right.
It was the Ministry of Education. So if anything, they could tell us something and then go and meet them and then they ratify things. But this is telling us because they were not there and calling us to such a crunch meeting, and these two bodies who were not invited to the meeting. So we were disappointed in a way.
Okay.
So we went out, but there was some exchange given, but later on we just saw that we were, because he indicated that he had another meeting to attend, and we didn't want to waste her time. So we said, okay, we were going to consult and then get them by Friday. So when we went out, the unanimous decision was that it appears there wasn't any commitment. Because if you are appealing to us, there should be some break, a midway. We would have liked some assurances as to the payment of the book and research allowance, so that we are not even calling for the allowance to be paid immediately, especially the 2013-2014 one, which is in arrears. Because every year by this time, the data and everything might have been collected, and then we'll be waiting for the payment. So we wanted to see some commitments from the part of government as to when they are to, and then we give ourselves timelines, and we just call our students because we are feeling for them.
Right, I get everything you're saying, but what is the way forward for you now?
Well, they said they could not say anything, and we were saying that at that time we don't also have any concrete and convincing data to come and give to our constituents.
So now you're going to sit at home?
Well, the issue is the case. We were even saying that the appeal should have gone to the National Labour Commission because they have dragged us to the High Court. So if they had appealed to them and they withdraw the case, then we see the way forward. But now
I get where you're coming from. The should haves, the would haves, and have nots, and whatever it says. It's already happened. So what is the way forward for you now? What are you going to do?
The way forward is we are, the court is on the 7th, so we will go to the court on Monday.
Okay, so you will decide after the 7th. Hello?
Pardon?
You will decide on something concrete after the 7th?
Yes, we can't take a unilateral decision. So maybe after the court, we might have gotten some of our cross-section of our members that they will take another decision.
We will definitely get you for an update on JN Interactive then. Thank you very much, Mr. Dugra.
Thank you, sister.
And thank you too for coming. I think he's actually said everything he ought to say about your situation so far. We've been out there to talk to you and ask your views about the things that are happening, and to also ask you what your thoughts are about this thing and how we can actually solve it. Let's take our first video blog.
The government should, talk to them, calm them down, and, start paying them gradually. Even if the government don't have all the money to pay them, at least. The government should, talk to them, calm them down, and start paying them gradually. Even if the government don't have all the money to pay them, at least if you give them parts of the payment, I think they will come back to work and they'll be motivated that the government, and they'll be rest assured that the government will pay them the rest of the balance, so they will come back and work. But this strike issue is not good. I don't think it's good.
I believe what the government will have to do is to be able to stop the corruption and the fraudulent activities that are going on in the government, because I believe that they look at all of these things, they look at all of these spendings going to places which are unnecessary. So when they see all of this stuff, then they feel that the government is really looking down on them, or the government is just taking them for a ride. So they feel that, okay, fine, they also have to be heard. That's when they also decide to go on the strikes and stuff like that. So I believe that if the government is able to channel monies where the monies will have to go, and then also proper monitoring, checks and balances, I believe that these strikes and stuff will go down, because they'll start understanding the government.
I don't think government is even thinking about this POTAC thing, you know, because I'm a student of Accra Polytechnic, you know. We had lectures barely for four weeks, serious lectures for just 4 weeks. And the rest of the sem we were just left stranded in school, you know. So we didn't even write our end of sem exams, but we had to go home and start with our industrial attachment thing, you know. It's really affecting us, and final year students are still in school. This whole thing, I don't know. We are facing all these problems, and then the government goes in to pump money into this Black Star thing, and see the flop they went to make during the World Cup, you know. It's such a serious thing.
Most of our leaders has not been fair to our teachers. You know, when I think almost everybody in Ghana was trained by a teacher. So far as you can read, you can write. Even your mom can be a teacher. Anybody who teaches you something is a teacher. But we have some people who are professionals. So when you become a professional, then it comes with a tax. You understand me? So if you give big monies to MPs who were taught by a teacher, if you the president, your pay will never delay. You get your pay on time, and you will not take care of the teachers, the polytechnic teachers and other stuff, then it's bad. And if the president sits idle without taking care of them, then our future leaders are the people facing the problem.
If the Black Stars could demand money, because, you know, I mean, you know, like, why not? If the polytechnic teachers need money, I mean, you know, like, they should, you know, be at their service.
I think government should, you know, sit down with the executives of POTAC and, you know, listen to their needs and supply them with the necessary.
Okay, so we've also been asking you, we wanted to find out whether you're thinking that strikes have become the way forward to resolve issues. Because it looks as if it appears that when we talk, government doesn't listen. And you would quite remember that on July the 1st, people actually took to the streets to occupy Flagstaff House. Have strikes become the way forward? Have agitations become the way forward, that people are thinking that we ought to do something drastic for government to hear us and do something about our situation? Let's take our final video blog.
This strike is too much, but the leadership and the stakeholders in the country should come together to see how best this issue can be solved very quick.
Strike is very common in Ghana, you know, every day or most of the time be hearing strike here and there, and I think the government should really make it a point, to still sit down with the executives of the tertiary institutions, you know, try and listen to their demands and needs and provide them with everything that they want. If not, or maybe they can provide them with most of what they need, their demands. They can provide most of their demands and maybe improve upon their facilities and other stuff. That will help them to at least not come up with strike every time, sit down and compromise on some things and some issues.
If everybody says government this, government that, this, that, foreigners will come here, open their companies, create rules and regulations, and you can't do anything because the government you say you are working for. Any little thing you want to go on, any little thing you want to go on, all right, fine. If they should privatize everything, do you think you'll be fine? You won't be fine. So let's just, you know, sometimes let's try to understand the government. This is our country.
It's becoming more or less something very normal. So the government doesn't even see how serious strikes and demonstrations are. So they just take it for a ride, or they take it for granted. I believe that if the government starts seriously working, and then the government listens some more to what the people are saying, I believe that everything is going to be okay, and then the strikes will stop.
Meanwhile, reports making the rounds on the media, you know, the wires say that government's decision to purchase sanitary pads for SHS pupils, you know, with some part of a loan is kind of whack. And I wanted to share some research with you, but it's actually not loading. And this research was carried out out in the 3 northern regions and the Brong-Ahafo region by the World Bank, UNICEF, and DFID, and the Education Ministry together about some of the reasons why people are not going to school, especially the girls are not going to school. And what they were finding out was that besides poverty, besides them not wanting to go to school, infrastructure was actually a big problem. And this infrastructure relating to the sanitary issue was that, one, when the girls are actually in school and they need to use the washroom, some of them have to leave school to go home to use the washroom because there's no washroom in the school. And when they do go to the house, returning to school becomes another problem, and so they don't come up, which then becomes another form of absenteeism that, hey, I mean, if I go home to use the toilet, then I can't walk all the way for however many miles I have to walk to come back to school. The other issue why government has decided to bring in this sanitary pad was because if using a place of convenience was a problem, then can you imagine the kind of shame that the girls will go through when they were actually in that period of the month and they were bleeding, coming to school to bleed? Where would they even change their sanitary pads if they had to? So this has become an infrastructural issue rather than the issue of getting them the pads physically. And I was so hoping that I can share. It's a very, very lengthy report for all of us to understand where government is coming from. That perhaps from a communications perspective, government's initiative is not bad, but the dynamics, the way government is communicating it to us as a people is what we're not getting. And so they need someone within a broader communication spectrum to break it down for us to understand. We've been out there to solicit your view and ask what you think about this and the way forward and whether it is sustainable even if it is necessary. Let's take our first video blog on that.
I don't think it's going to be sustainable because we will not even know when again we'll be able to get loans again to be able to uphold this kind of pad, whatever. So I believe that if you're able to set up factories or companies to be able to produce this part, it's going to be a little bit sustainable.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think it can be sustained because the country right now is facing, is broke financially, is facing economic issues. So I think right now the country is kind of declined financially. So I don't think there will be much money available in the coffers of the government to supply for these sanitary pads to be sustained, given to these ladies.
I don't think it's going to be long term in the sense that, let's take it for instance, the school feeding program was something that was very important, that will encourage students to go to school. As a result of that, all the political heads came together to understand on that aspect. I think the free school uniform is also something that is good. So when other party comes, they are also going to do something about that. But about the pad, I don't know as to whether the other political parties who may come in power in the near future will accept it or not. I don't think it's going to be that sustainable. It's going to break on the way.
Yes, you've all shared your views regarding that, and that is where we drop the curtains on today's fabulous show. And my partner in crime is back. We can wrap up together.
Thank you very much, Maria Ture. But let's tell viewers that obviously they should expect a lot more stories at 8 with Israel Live. News at 8 with Israel Live will bring you much more perspective with some of the events that panned out in Parliament, and of course the issue regarding sanitary pad and getting our girls to go to school. But that'll be it for now. I am Prince Minka.
My name, as always, is Marian Ture. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.